U2 are a huge rock band from Ireland. They were formed in 1977 and have been active ever since. They are Bono, The Edge, Larry Mullen, and Adam Clayton. They are mega famous world conquerors. They've sold an estimated 150 to 170 million records worldwide. They rank as the 24th highest selling music artist in the US. They have 8 albums that have reached number one in the US, and they have released 15 studio albums, their first in 1980 and their most recent in 2023. Hi, my name's Dan. So, this is not, in fact, instructions on how to dismantle an atomic bomb. Actually, it's the 11th studio album by U2. It's my first encounter with this album, although, of course, I know of U2 and I've heard some of their stuff before. I didn't even know that this album existed before I came across it on this list. I do, however, recognise the opening track Vertigo. I'm pretty sure I've heard it on the radio when it was around at the time. Um, so apparently they recorded it and then they listened to it and then they decided it wasn't good enough, so they started again from scratch. So it's an album that was recorded twice, and I would describe it as an album of rock, definitely. So I'm not a huge U2 historian, or in fact, even a small U2 historian. The little bit that I do know, just from reading about this album, is that they had done. Well, I do know that they had done a period in the 80s of anthemic rock, and that after a while they moved into more alternative and more electronic stuff. And then I was now having read, know that they came back to the anthemic rock stuff, and this is part of that return here. So the focus here is definitely on two people, on the jangly guitar of the Edge and the distinctive vocals of Bono. It's overall, it's got a lot of kind of atmosphere. It's anthemic. It's got grooves that kind of move on. It's got kind of rock feel. It's got slower and more, contemplative, I think is a good word for it. Some of the songs, and yeah, quite a mixture there. I'd say musically it's strong and fairly varied. They're obviously good at what they do, and but also so are the producers. And it doesn't have the very produced feel of pop, but it certainly has, a feeling that it's been very carefully put together. Um, Bono's voice is very clear and distinctive. He's kind of pretty much you know it's him when you hear him singing, and I'm guessing most people who have a mild interest in music would recognise his voice. I would describe his voice as being strong with a slight wildness to it. It's actually pretty expressive and does the job well. It's not a kind of super accurate and technically strong voice, but that doesn't mean it's weak technically either. But he doesn't kind of do the what I call vocal gymnastics with it, but he just kind of sings stuff and it comes out with a reasonable amount of expression to it. Um, so I think what it's really got to come down to on this album is the songs. So let's talk about those a bit. The opening track, Vertigo, is a real crowd pleaser. It's one that I don't know how many times I heard it when it was around on the radio. It might not have been that many, but it's very recognisable. It has shades of other songs that I know, and you kind of go, it sounds a bit like such and such and whatever. But, in its own right, it's a decent song, I would say. And it's probably my favourite song on the album. The songs generally are, some of them are social commentary, some of them are about relationships, and a few of them are about faith. This is no surprise for U2. It's kind of standard U2 fare. They're written in a way that's pretty mainstream. There's nothing hugely surprising here. That's not saying that they're weak songs. They're just not genius songs, to my mind. Um, so, going to stepping back just a little bit, I would say that the kind of success that U2 have had is the sort of success that tends to breed contempt because they've been so dominant, particularly during the 80s. And I certainly went through quite a long phase where I was, U2, too. And felt like I wanted to look down my nose at people who liked U2. But I've got over that. I'm aware that not everybody else has. I've had comments on other videos on my channel, which are, not U2, but vaguely remember some comment about I would rather listen to this than anything that U2 have produced. So that there's definitely some um, dislike for U2 in general out there. Um, and I kind of, I still get it, but I'm trying. Well, I'm going to say I'm trying not to succumb to it. I don't think I am because I think I have got a bit genuinely. I think it's as an album, it's competent, it's mainstream. It's not, I wouldn't have said arrogant. It's maybe a little bit on the smug side, quite worthy at times. That's, not necessarily a bad thing, but be prepared for, social commentary that is along those lines. So, to be honest, I enjoyed it pretty well. I felt like it barrels along well, and I felt like if this album had been produced by another band, um, then there are people who would like it who wouldn't like it because they knew it was U2. And I'd like to encourage people not to have that barrier against U2 or against, any musical acts. Give it a decent listen. Anyway, so I pretty much enjoyed it. And I would like to know what you think, whether it is that you hate them or you love it or, whatever else you want to say, please do share by leaving a comment. And that's it from me for now.
I wanna trip inside your head, spend a day there, to hear the things you haven't said, and see what you might see. I wanna hear you when you call. Do you feel